Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Sit down. Come on. Behave yourself. I thought maybe Ant and Dec walked on behind me. That's why you... well, thank you so much for coming. Hello and welcome to a brand new series. It's called The Jonathan Ross Show. Yes, I'm back. I'm raring to go. Do you like the set, ladies and gentlemen? Do you like the new set? It looks like a Bond villain's been at IKEA, doesn't it? And you know what? It didn't actually cost that much because we got the plasma screens over the summer for free from McCurry's in London. Speaking of which, that's the London skyline you see there, of course. Obviously, we designed it back in July because most of those windows have since been smashed in. That one's gone completely. Now, over the coming weeks on the show, we're going to be bringing you the biggest stars in show business. That's my promise to you. And talking of which, congratulations to Beyonce and Jay-Z. They're expecting. That's lovely news, isn't it? Isn't that lovely news? Not only has he put a ring on it, he's put a baby in it, too. Congratulations to Roger Alsop. This was in the papers this week. Age 70, he has become the oldest person to swim the channel. Isn't that great? I think what a marvellous thing to do. 70 years old. He swam the channel. What an achievement. Mind you, he was only 52 when he got in, so maybe... Imagine how wrinkly his body was when he reached Calais, eh? He must have come out looking like Alan Sugar's scrotum. And speaking as one of the few straight men who've seen that, I can tell you it needs a good ironing. Now, that's right, I've learned nothing. And well done to anyone who has qualified for McDonald's University. I didn't even have that, but there is actually a McDonald's University. And believe it or not, they now do a degree in, I suppose, I don't know what the actual phrase is, but burgerology or something. I looked into it. It's a sandwich course. Don't groan. It's sort of a PH McD. I tried, I got the wrong grades. I got a K, an F and a C. They wouldn't have me. And finally, my hero of the week comes from the World Athletics Championships. That's on at the moment. Is anyone watching it? Yeah. You liars. Anyway, this was my favourite story. It's the heartwarming tale of a shot putter from Samoa. Here he is. He's a genuine thing. Now, he was apparently a bit too rubbish at the shot put to qualify, but a loophole meant that he could compete in the 100 metres instead. Did anyone see this? OK. Here he is. Bear in mind, this isn't actually his sport, but he gave it a go. Here he is, trying that in the 100 metres. Watch this.
So let's see who gets away well. Going well in right now. All at the Solomon Islands, and it's pretty tight there on the inside. The race is going on, and Hardy's going to take it on the inside for him.
How about that? That is... I love that. You've got to admire a trier. We're going to leave it there. Maybe we'll check back in later to see if he ever finished. Now, I have to tell you that story actually has a sad ending because his run didn't even count as he later tested positive for Greg's. By the way, can I just say a big thank you? I want to say a thank you to Mark Ronson. Mark Ronson composed the music for the series here. Did you like the theme song at the beginning? Mr. Mark Ronson did that for me. We have a great lineup for you on this show this evening, ladies and gentlemen. My first guest is a gorgeous nugget of New York glamour. She's got more shoes than a Tottenham teenager. It is the lovely Sarah Jessica Parker. Wow, look at Sarah. You look amazing. My next guest is one of the greatest drivers of his generation. It is the one and only Mr. Lewis Hamilton. Young man. The fastest thing on 4 wheels, but then again, you would drive pretty quickly if you had a pussycat doll waiting at home, wouldn't you? My next guest is an incredible success story. She has sold something like 78 trillion albums. She's won something like 4,000 Grammys. It is the one and only Adele! Adele is here. Looking lovely. Adele, how great to have you here. Thank you for coming. They're going to be coming out and chatting in a bit. Before we do, Adele, you recently had laryngitis?
Yeah.
OK, and did you have to... and so you had to lay off the singing for a while, I guess, did you? How long could you not function that way for?
I think it was about 5 weeks.
5 weeks?
Yeah.
Could you talk, or did you have to stop that as well?
No, for about 3 weeks I had a chalkboard around my neck.
Wow.
Yeah, and just like miming and writing things down.
That would explain why my wife tried to buy some laryngitis on eBay.
But yeah, I'm better now. Yeah.
Adele is going to be not just chatting, she will be performing live for us right here in the studio later on. Adele, Sarah Jessica Parker, Lewis Hamilton. That's the show right there. Thank you, guys. OK, let's get amongst it. Let's get my first guest out, ladies and gentlemen. She is surely one of the most glamorous women in show business, second only to Shane Warne. Will you please welcome... Will you please welcome the fabulous Sarah Jessica Parker?
I have to unzip my dress slightly in order to sit.
Yeah.
Like a lady.
I'm here to help if you need it. And you have, since last we met, congratulations, you've had twins. She has twin boys since I last saw you a few years ago. Twin girls, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
What a lovely thing to have in your life, I imagine.
It's very lovely. They're very, very charming and very sweet and very hilarious.
And they're both two, is that right?
They're 26 months.
OK, OK. And are they the similar kind of twins, or are they kind of, like, very different? Do they have different personalities already, or do you think they're going to be two peas in a pod?
They're very, very different. They are spiritually, politically, physically, emotionally, ideologically, they are very, very, very different in every way. Yeah. I mean, they don't look even related. When we go outside and people think that they're just two children that have, you know, made a play date.
So they're like totally different shapes.
One is very olive complexioned like me, and one is very see-through, translucent like my husband. One has, you know, sweet little hooded Broderick eyes, blue Broderick eyes, and the other has big, you know, like an animated character, big brown eyes.
Like a little cartoon character. And what are their names?
Tabitha and Loretta.
Wow. And which one's your favourite?
Oh, I love both of them equally.
Of course you do. Hey, I haven't seen this. They told me we have a picture of them. They said they're very different.
Really?
Oh, my goodness me.
Yes. So you can
See what we did there.
Tabitha, who we sometimes call Danny, is the olive complexion, and the one that is sometimes confused for an Austrian clearly takes after her father.
OK, Sarah Jessica Parker is in the UK, not just to say hello to all of us. She has a new movie out, ladies and gentlemen, and the new movie is called I Don't Know How She Does It. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And it's kind of, I guess, are there parallels in the character you play in that film and your real life? Because it's a woman who, on the surface, seems to have everything and can do everything, but, of course, the reality is she finds it very tricky.
Overwhelmed. There are things that are very, very familiar about this character. It's one of the many reasons that I love the story. She is a mother who works outside the home, but I think more importantly, I thought when I read the script that it was a character that millions and millions of women could relate to, you know, because it's a very funny, often amusing essay, really, on modern parenthood in these times, and written by a countryman of yours, originally. The source material was
Alison Pearson, I believe.
The great, brilliant, clever, funny, witty, observant Alison Pearson.
Let's have a look at this. This is Sarah Jessica Parker's new movie. It's out September the 16th. It's called I Don't Know How She Does It.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't know how she does it. All those children.
I have two.
So impressive.
You have four.
Yeah, but two of mine are twins.
Jack Abelhammer in our New York office has sparked to a proposal, and he'd like to meet the author.
Oh, God! Sorry. How long have you been there?
Long enough, but go ahead if there's anything else you need to adjust.
This could be a big step up. Gives your kids a chance to spend all that extra quality time they've been hoping for. With your nanny.
Did you take Ben to get his haircut?
Yes.
Oh, that was his first haircut.
His first haircut. Missing everything.
Can't hear you then. Sarah Jessica Parker, a mum who looks like she has it all, can't necessarily make it all fit together. I love rom-coms. I'm one of those guys who loves rom-coms. I love that kind of thing. And I love rom-coms set in New York, of all places, which is where you shot that. You don't mind filming elsewhere, or I guess because of the family, you would much rather film there?
Well, I love shooting there because I can be with my children as much as possible, and also it just feels very familiar and it's convenient.
I guess you can keep up with some of the things in the UK from over there. Did you get to see the royal wedding? Did you enjoy that? Because I imagine if you love clothes, that you would have wanted to see the dress.
Who didn't? Who didn't wake at 3:48 that morning and prepare a early tea of proper builder's tea of PG Tips, milk, sugar. I had sausage rolls. I had McVitie's digestives.
McVitie's.
Oh, McVitie's. Sorry, McVitie's. Charming, isn't it?
Yeah.
Digestives with the dark chocolate. I had a curried lamb pie, sausage rolls.
That must have been some sandwich.
It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous, and I laid it out, and I got down my old mugs of other royal members, queens, and people who sadly never became queens. And my sisters came over, and my daughter woke, and...
Wow, so you had a real gathering.
No, we sat as if we were an invited member, an extended member of the family.
And I imagine, was Matthew keen to join in? Did he wake up and say, I don't want to miss the wedding, make sure I'm there for the wedding, I want to see who designed the dress?
Yes, that was exactly what he said to me. He ate the leftovers later on when he stumbled out of bed. But we really were so looking forward to this event, and could not have...
Wasn't it beautiful? Wasn't it just the most beautiful ceremony?
It was perfect. Yeah. It was perfect, and the only... Well, there is an ending to the story, which is that once it was over, it all occurred to us we had nothing else to look forward to. We were like, well, now what?
So we know you love McVitie's, we know you love the English food. I have a few English delicacies. I thought I'd see if you wanted to try some of the English...
All right. Do they have to do with body part, interior organs?
Why, do you not eat meat?
Oh, I know what that is.
What's
That's
that?
called a, don't tell me. It's got sausage, and it's called a something egg.
It's called a something egg? That would be the egg bit you just saw.
Really oh, God, these are very hard to find in Manhattan. You have no idea. There's a restaurant run by a British chef named
Is he a
April
Scottish
Bloom.
gentleman?
It's a woman. It's
Is he a Scottish lady who sells them eggs?
Scottish egg!
Yes!
Scottish egg!
Well done. Well done. Okay. But I wonder whether you want to try some. Have you ever seen this before? You ever tried?
Oh, that's a sort of aspic of sorts.
Yeah. You want to try
maybe
those?
mussels and oysters.
Jelly deals.
Good God, I really don't want to.
Okay, here. Try a little bit of this. I'm not going to tell you what this is. This is from one of the finest restaurants. Try a little bit of that.
Does it have liver in it?
No liver in it. Now have some of that. And we're going to take. I think it was cold before the studio lights got to it.
Do you have a spittoon nearby?
You'll like it. Try that. I'll tell you what it is. It's one of the finest restaurants in the UK. While Sarah enjoys that, we're going to take a break. Don't go away. I'll tell you what it is after these messages.
Chestnuts?
No, it's right. Welcome back to the show. Well, before we went to the break, I offered Sarah some of the finest food. This is a request of something you can get in the Fat Duck restaurant. Did you enjoy that?
It was very tasty.
Okay, it's kind of a risotto thing. You know what's in that? You know what those dark things are there?
No. I mean, I would take a guess, but
What would you guess?
I would say a mushroom with chestnuts.
No, so close. It's snail.
Oh, I like snails.
Well, that's just as well.
Oh, it's very nice. That explains the pesto and the garlic.
Snail
and all
porridge. Yeah, that's to disguise the flavour. I can't eat snails.
I would happily start my day with that.
Would you really?
No, I'm dead serious.
Wow, that's a very peculiar way to start the day.
Very nice way to start my day.
Snail porridge. Now, you and your husband, you've been together for some time now. How many years you been married for? How long have you been together?
Let's see, I think we've been married for almost 15 years. I think we've been together for about 20 years.
Congratulations. And,
Thank you.
And here's the thing. There they are. Look, this is a lovely photograph of you there. He looks so young for his age. He always got such a young face. The interesting thing is, you're both a kind of rarity in that you were both performers when you were young, and yet you're still incredibly successful now, probably more so in your case. And so your eldest is he 8 or 9 now?
He's almost 9, James Wilkie.
If James wanted to act, or if the twins, they want to go into acting at all, when they're kids, you'd encourage that? You'd allow that or not?
I would try to discourage them without them knowing that I was discouraging them. You know, if my son finishes a 4-year college, he can go do whatever he wants.
So you would let them go then? Of course, yeah.
Of course, yes.
And what about when you're home with the kids now? I know my wife and I, we had to be very careful with this sort of thing, but say you want some special time together, mummy and daddy time. And now you got I guess you have help at home, but I mean, do you lock the door now? Do you have that? Or do you have an early warning system? Do you stack something outside so there's a noise if someone comes close?
No, the subject
Let me tell you now, young lady, you don't want a 10-year-old walking in when Daddy's making funny noises near Mummy. What's going on? Something's happening. Let me help Mummy. I'll pull her out from underneath you. Everything's fine. You want to put a bucket out the front or something like that with some marbles in it. Something
No,
like that.
I recall there was some parents I knew growing up who used to put a peacock feather outside the bedroom door, and that basically was a, you know, do not disturb sign.
But don't, you know, you don't want to tell the kids you're doing it. You want to protect them from the fact that you're still active.
The peacock feather just said, you know, we need some quiet time. It didn't say like we were having intimate relations. They didn't announce to the children that when you see a peacock feather, that means that, you know, mom and papa, or papa's, I don't know.
Just papa. Just papa. That's terrible. If you saw the peacock feather and then saw Mum was outside, you think, what's Papa doing in there?
Papa needs some alone time.
Papa needs a lot of alone time these days, ever since the internet entered our life. And they kid, I guess they would have seen, certainly, your son would have seen some of the work you've done, some of the movies you've done. I guess you won't have seen Sex and the City because that's not age appropriate for someone under, like, 14, 15, I guess.
Right. Right.
But do you miss doing that series? Do you miss working with the other women and having that? Because you were that series and it was such a huge part of your life for, what, 13, 14, 15 years?
I think about 12 years, 10, 12 years. I miss the people a lot. I miss the way we got to shoot in New York City. I miss the crew. And I miss the familiarity of going to work you know, when you know people and how comfortable it feels to work. And, but that's the very reason sometimes you should try something new.
Because it gets too familiar.
Yeah, and I think it just feels very safe, and it's so seductive to just stay someplace like that forever. But it was you know, just the experience of a lifetime, so I feel really privileged that I felt that way about those people, and that they were, you know, I can't imagine having had that experience without them.
It's, you know, man, I love that show, and I know it's not traditionally a male kind of show. I don't know, do you meet a lot of straight men who love the show, or is it mainly gay men who say they love the show? Because I know a lot of women love it, but...
Well, early on when we were first on the air on television, men would tell me that they would sort of whisper it. They were sort of ashamed. You know, I'd be at a luggage carousel, and a man would be like, I've watched the show, I watched the show. You know? And then he would tell me it was because HBO had been primarily a male-oriented, it was a big sports channel, so they explained to me, there was this long sort of preface, you know, well, I turned on, it was already on that channel because of the boxing or the football or the
So there'd
golf,
be an alibi, a reason why they accidentally stumbled on it. Well, let's hold it. Adele, I'm assuming are you a fan? Can I assume that you're a fan of Sex and the City?
Yeah, huge.
I bet you love it.
Yes.
Lewis, let me ask you, are you a Sex and the City fan?
I am.
Wow.
I think it's a great show, and...
Oh, you put him on the spot.
Just now, actually, she was in here, I was just saying how a great show it was. I just watched Sex and the City 2, actually, so...
OK, which one are you?
I watched it with the girlfriend, so that kind of makes it...
I reckon he's a Charlotte, I reckon.
You reckon he's Charlotte, a bit prissy and a bit... Yeah. Adele, please don't tell me you're Samantha.
No, off. I'm Miranda.
Well, hold it. If he's Charlotte and you're Miranda, and we know you are, that makes me Samantha. I don't want to be Samantha.
Why don't you want to
I've run out of peacock feathers. I loved the last movie as well. The second movie got a bit of a rough ride, I think. People loved the first movie. Everyone adored the first movie. Second movie didn't get as warm a reception. I enjoyed
right?
it just
this
as
is
much.
the first time hearing of it.
Oh, I didn't want to break you that way. I wonder, because I thought maybe because the girls were out there, out of Manhattan, and maybe people didn't want to see him travel, didn't want to see him walk up.
Lesson learned, note to self.
I loved it
Never
just as
leave
much.
Manhattan.
Are you doing number 3? Please say you're doing number 3. I want to see number 3. I want to see number 3.
If you insist.
I want to see number 3.
All right, then yes.
But are you talking about it?
No.
Oh.
But the fact that you have expressed an interest will mean an enormous amount to the people that foot the bill.
We got to go and see that film.
Well, maybe it's a conversation that we'll have in the not too distant future.
And there was talk about them doing not a prequel, but a sort of prequel series as such. The Girls and the Kiss.
Right.
But I think that's gone now. Is that right? That's
yes. To my knowledge, there's none of the rumors that exist are based on actual fact.
So no news so far. So I needn't apply to play Big when he was a teenager in the...
For the time being.
I'll hold on
but
to that
doesn't
thought.
mean, you know...
OK.
That might be a a moment in the...
Well, you know what? We don't have a new Sex and the City movie, but we do have a new romantic comedy drama with Sarah Jessica Parker we can go and see right now. It's September the 16th. It's called I Don't Know How She Does It. I love seeing your movies. I love seeing you on TV. I love seeing you here on the couch. Please come back in the near future.
Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. The fabulous Sarah Jessica Parker, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Don't go away, we're going to take a short break, but afterwards I will be talking to Mr. Lewis Hamilton. See you in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much. OK, let me show you something. Just before we get Lewis Hamilton, he's coming out in a second, but before we do, this is something I read about and I thought I'd get it into the show and we maybe try it out, because there's a company here in London, in Walthamstow, and they've created a new flavour of jam, OK? The flavour that I imagine they thought the nation has been craving, bacon-flavoured jam. Yeah, this is it. This is an actual product. We haven't mocked this or anything. It actually said bacon jam. Who doesn't want bacon jam? Obviously, apart from Jewish diabetics, but who... And if you can't get your hands on it, you can always make it at home. We've looked at the recipe on there, and I've got the ingredients here that you could make your own bacon jam at home if you wanted to. And this is the genuine ingredients they have here, which is you have the smoked bacon ready cooked, so you put that in there. Okay, you probably blend it all up with red onion. That gives it a nice... So it's much like a chutney or a pickle. We've got vinegar. That's the posh balsamic vinegar. Spice. Oh, there's the spice. Coffee. Has coffee in it. Garlic. OK? And here's the kicker, whiskey. Ooh. There's a bit more of that. This smells better. And this is how you make it. And you would mix up at home if you want to try some. And that is what you would wind up with. If you're getting close on that, if you can get close on the whiskey there. Finish that up in there. Christ. No wonder Delia Smith always looks off her tits. It's you trying it there, Sarah?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'd call it a spread rather than a
Would
dip.
you? I tell you what, you're a game girl. Everything I've told you to put in your mouth tonight so far, you've done it. Yeah. Look and learn, Hamilton. Look and learn. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for our next guest. I am delighted he's on the show. Before he comes out there, just let's take a look at him in his office. Look at this.
Hamilton is incredible. He's in permanent attack mode.
And he comes up the inside using the extra straight line speed. Hamilton's done it. He's back in the lead. He's looking at the inside, he's through. Hamilton takes the lead. Lewis Hamilton brilliantly wins the Chinese Grand Prix. Great go, guys, great go!
He is one of the greatest sporting talents this country's ever produced. It's Lewis Hamilton. Good. Good to meet you. Lewis Hamilton, that's a dapper young man. There's a good-looking and well-turned-out young man right there for you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the warm welcome. My mum's somewhere out there.
Your mum's here this evening?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hello,
No,
Mum. Where's Mum? Up there.
Hey, Mum.
Hello, Mum. Make yourself known on the way out. I'll make sure you get a car home.
I have to ask you, was that apple juice you were drinking?
No, that was whiskey.
I want to pass it here.
It was whiskey, dude.
I want to pass it here.
Can you hold your drink? Are you okay? Are you
I
old
can.
enough to drink?
I
Yeah,
had
you are,
to have some before I came, or else I know. That's apple juice.
No! Commiserations on the weekend. I was watching on TV, Spa it was, in Belgium.
Yeah. Thank you for not showing it, actually.
We've got it coming up, but I want you to talk us through it, because it's a terrifying thing when any of us see a crash. Unfortunately, this wasn't a bad one. It wasn't, I mean, it's bad enough to get you out of the race, but it wasn't, there was no damage done to you or to other drivers. But I'm wondering, you know, what happens when that's going on? What's going through your mind? The first time you realise that you're losing control, what's the first thought you have?
Well, sometimes you know it's coming, but, you know, for then, I honestly didn't see the guy that was... I could see he was behind me, but I thought I was past him fully. So I was literally committed to the corner, and as I was turning in, I got a clip from the outside.
So you'd overtaken him, and you'd gone out to follow what they call the line, I guess, and you were then going to swoop back in, and then he was coming up the inside.
Yeah, I mean, you need to have very good awareness of the space around you.
Or look in your mirrors.
Yeah, the mirrors we have, you know, when you're doing 200 miles an hour, they're flapping, so you can't actually see them too well.
Why do they even have on?
Because it's just legal. It's just a
so it's
legality
legal. OK,
issue,
so it's like you don't get the MOT unless you've got the mirrors.
Exactly.
Can we show the clip of the bumpers? I'm not doing this.
I've only seen it like once, so...
So you wouldn't... It's not something you would watch back again and again, I guess, anyway.
No.
But I guess...
I prefer watching the clip you showed.
The first one, where you win it.
Good.
Yeah, of course you do. But this is the most recent thing, so let's have a look at this, and maybe you can talk... So this is the weekend, if you're watching. It was in Belgium. It was the Grand Prix, and this is the crash itself, and we see just before it happens and afterwards. Have a look at this.
As Hamilton, he can use the DRS because he was within a second when, even though he then passed... Oh, they've contacted Hamilton into the barriers, and Kobayashi came back up the outside of him. Lewis clearly wasn't aware that he was there, or chose, and into the tyres go. Lewis Hamilton out of the Grand Prix.
OK, that's...
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, you know, if you want, we have it in slow-mo.
No.
Do you have bruises? Do you have... are there muscle problems after something like that?
Yeah, I think you're in... you know, you've got the adrenaline, so I think you don't really feel it too much.
You don't know it's happened even, yeah.
The next day I was in pain.
And Jensen did pretty well after that. I mean, he was like in 14th at that stage. He came back up. He came right through the ranks, and he wound up at third, I think, at the end of that. It's such a competitive sport, but can you be friends? Do you get on with Jensen? Can you be friends with the other drivers, or does it have to be fairly ruthless?
At the end of the day, we're fierce competitors, but, you know, I'm very lucky. I think the last couple of years I've had very good teammates, and Jensen is very, very similar to me. He's come from, you know, from nowhere. We've got a great family behind us both.
You can fill in your own captions at home for that one, ladies and gentlemen. Do you ever give him any driving tips?
No.
No? Not tempting? You should just, when you wind him up after and say, you know what you want to try? When you're doing that turn, you want to try...
I think he'll be giving me the tips at the moment. He's doing a lot better, so...
but it does, you know... But you came, it seemed to many of us, like you came almost out of nowhere and suddenly you were there and you won so young. I mean, you were so... How old were you when you won the first time?
I won in 2007, in my first year, so I was 22.
22? It's
crazy because people don't see that what we did before that, you know, before... Through karting, through, you know, racing remote control cars, sitting in the back of a trailer with, you know, just a gas heater and my dad's old Vauxhall that pulled it along. I went go-karting when I was 5 years old when we were in Ibiza one time on our first holiday. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. I just had a knack for braking and accelerating, and I used that knack through the whole of my karting
even
career.
when you... So the first time you got in the car, you felt you had a knack for that?
Yeah.
And where do you think that came from? It just was something you just knew how to do it? You just liked doing it?
Oh, yeah. I had no fear with it at all.
And what's the fastest you've driven, do you think? What's the fastest speed you've hit?
I think the fastest I've ever done is 235 miles an hour, I think.
That's just silly, though,
But that's not on the race, you know, on the race...
So that wasn't the race, that was like the M1? Where was that?
No, we... I won't tell you what I've done.
Well, you must have points in your... Have you got points in your licence?
The first time I ever got caught, you know, in your first 2 years of driving, you're only allowed 6 points. And I was driving up to Snetterton. I had a test up there. OK, and by the way, we don't encourage speeding if there are any young people watching, and we especially don't encourage getting caught. No,
so,
absolutely. I remember looking far ahead, and I saw there was this yellow van, and it had the door open, and I thought that, you know, that's not a camera. And as I got closer and closer, I started to realise, oh, shit, you know, and... I had to ask them to send a picture to show proof, and there was a picture of me. And I won't say anymore, but the facial expression I had was hilarious.
This was because you've been caught in the camera, so you're like, huh?
Yeah.
Look down there. Give us the face, will you, that you were doing. OK, this is Lewis when he knew he was... When he finally realised it was a camera. So you're driving up, and then the camera goes... But you've learned a lesson. You would never speed now on a UK road, would you?
No. Do you know what? I just don't drive.
You don't drive?
Just avoid driving.
What about Nicole? Can we ask you about Nicole? Is Nicole Scherzinger?
Yep.
When you're driving with her, do you let her drive you in the car?
I mostly drive.
OK, yeah.
Like 99% of the time.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think she loves it when I drive, and...
Who wouldn't?
And I think there was a time recently where we were driving around LA, and I don't know the place, so she's giving me directions to the restaurant, and I get frustrated because, you know, she tells me when to turn once I pass the turning already, so then you have to do a U-turn.
Well, you're obviously driving too fast if you do
No.
that. Take a left! Where's it gone?
So I stopped and I let her drive, and...
How was that?
It wasn't great. It wasn't great.
Well, you're going to get married pretty soon, I guess, is that right?
I don't know about that.
I thought I read you were getting married.
No, we're quite happy where we are.
OK.
She left. She flew back to LA this morning.
She's back to LA. OK. When you go and see gigs, does she like you being there? Does she like seeing you in the crowd, or would she rather you weren't in the crowd?
Well, I'm lucky. I think one of the props, the perks of being a boyfriend of someone like her. I mean, she's fantastic to watch. But I've been able to travel around when she was on tour, and I stand next to the stage in places that no one gets to go, and. You know, but it's neat. It's incredible.
So you get to go a little bit closer than the side of the stage with her, don't you?
She sings to me. She sings to me when she's on stage.
She sings to you on stage?
So she always points me out when she's singing, which is pretty sweet.
And are there particular parts of the song she dedicates to you, like that?
Well, there's some songs, you know, she did J-Ho, for example, and she always tells me that I inspired her to write that. So when she sings that, she always says, this part is for you.
This is for you.
Yeah,
I love it. And what part of the song is it that, in particular, she sings to you?
Because
some of her lyrics are pretty racy, aren't they? I mean, some of them are very racy.
Yeah, not that one. I think there's a part where it says, you're the reason that I breathe, or something like that. Or,
that's
you know,
so
it's kind of a softy part. So.
And yet you still went like that when you said you were her boyfriend. You did.
It's right.
You read, you know, because her boyfriend's out there. What does that mean? Why did you do that? With quotation marks. OK, you're not what we would call a player. You're not one of those guys, are you? You're not kind of looking around for other action and stuff like that, are you?
No, when you have the most beautiful girl in the world, then you don't need to.
Wow, what a lovely thing to say. And none of that going on then either.
None of that.
OK. Lewis, how lovely to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, what a charming guest and what a fabulous talent. It's Mr. Lewis Hamilton. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us after the break, because I like to think the best is yet to come. No disrespect to the fabulous Sarah or Lewis, but taste as you were mere starters for the main courses coming up with Adele after these messages. Don't go away. Dutch scientists have this week made a breakthrough in the mating rituals of some certain songbirds that they were looking at. They've discovered that male birds that sing at the lowest pitch have more success in attracting mates. OK, so basically, in a controlled test, this bird, what you can hear now, this one attracted the fewest mates. Listen to this. Poor little fella. Whereas the bird that sings like this got all the lady pecking it could handle. I can't do that with my neck. OK. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get our final guest on this first show out now. Hers is one of the nicest stories in music because she's a huge success, and yet, when she's here in London, I believe, she still lives at home with her mum. And that poor mum, imagine polishing all those Grammys. Will you please welcome the wonderful Adele?
Welcome back.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You know, I'm so thrilled you're on this show because we love your stuff and my kids always listen to your stuff.
Cool.
And you're huge all over the world now. You're in America. You couldn't be a bigger star, could you?
It's going really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just come back. Have you been doing? Do you do the big stadiums now? I guess.
No, I still like playing smallish venues. I get in trouble for not playing bigger venues, actually, because there is quite... People get pretty pissed off that I don't play bigger venues.
Because they can't get tickets, I guess.
Yes. Okay. But I've been playing amphitheatres, which are outside, and they're beautiful, and you get to see the audience when you go on. But no, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of touring.
But this time of year, I guess, if you're playing those big places outside in America, it's pretty warm, so you're OK.
Yeah, it's boiling. Nice. It's too hot for me. It's like 100 degrees out there.
That's too hot. But does that affect your singing?
No, it's all right. It's all right, yeah.
And what are the crowds like? They stay with you, even though it's hot outside, or do they...
No, they get pretty drunk. They're quite hysterical there. Like, they've been pretty hysterical everywhere, to be honest. But, yeah, they're pretty intense.
And how does that... how do you see that they're intense? What happens? What, they go crazy? They faint? What do they do?
Like, faint, yeah, like, start screaming, like, singing like this. Yeah, but not doing, like, rolling in the deep, during, like, a really tender moment of someone like you or something like that. But, no, yeah, like, we was in Vegas. It was my first time in Vegas, and obviously it's boiling there, and all that people just go there to drink, basically. It's like going Magaluf or something like that. We're there, and this woman, during one of my shows, which obviously my show doesn't really get that hectic, really.
No, because the music's not big banging.
Yeah.
It's gentle. You're right, it's intimate. It's
no dance routine, doesn't get particularly hot, you know.
Crazy.
And this, someone who works for my management saw this woman pass out in the crowd, this old lady. No offence, but she was 60, that's old, I think. And she fainted, so they was bringing her out to the side, and then she started pissing herself.
Oh!
60 years old at one of my shows. She was off her face. It was brilliant. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's quite the reaction.
Yes.
I guess celebs, if I was out there and I knew you were performing, I'd want to come and see it. So you must get the celebs in LA, in New York, they must come to...
Gordon Ramsay came to the one in LA, which was lovely, because I'm a massive fan of him.
But when you look out in the crowd, if you see him, because if he's crying at one of your songs, it must look like someone's punched a bulldog. So that must...
Oh!
All right, no bulldogs were harmed in the telling
that story. You've got to behave, you know.
No, I've got to be on best behaviour, haven't I think... But do you ever stop and think, how did it happen so quickly? Obviously, you know you're talented. You must have known you had that talent, and maybe you didn't know you had the talent for writing songs, but that's developed and you've honed that. But do you stop and think, this has been so quick? How did this happen like this? You know, where I am right now?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I mean, I am pretty oblivious to everything. Like, I'm not very in touch with the kind of the fame side of it. I don't chase none of that, and to be honest, it doesn't interest me at all, any of that stuff. Like, I was at the VMAs the other day, and it was a good night out, but I felt pretty out of place and kind of wished I was at home with my
Where did you go to? Where were you?
What do you mean?
You said you were out. You said where were you at?
The VMAs.
Oh, I see.
Video Music Awards. Yeah,
oh, I see. The VMAs.
LA,
but you see, you say that. You know those. The rest of us, we don't go to the VMAs. So you know.
Oh, you know what the VMAs is, don't you? Yeah, you're old. See, it's the young uns in the crowd now. Yeah.
Anyway. You're not with anyone at the moment, are you?
No.
OK,
I'm always single.
But you're not always single.
No, I just say I am.
Yeah. Do you like being single? You'd rather be with someone?
I hate being single.
But it must be hard, I guess, if you're touring, if you're travelling, and now that you're getting better known, it must be hard to meet people.
Yeah, it's really hard, actually.
And also, there's the double-sided thing, I guess, that the last two albums, if I'm right, 19 and 21, are both about relationships that didn't work out.
Yeah.
So I guess the next guy's thinking, I just send one dodgy text, that's it, I'm album fodder.
Well, to be honest, I got a bit burnt back in May, around my birthday as well, and I know that he'd be over the moon if I wrote a record about him, but no way is that Brer getting a record about him.
That's pretty good. I hear that. That's good. Don't give him the satisfaction.
No way. He would ride that wave forever. That's how much of a dickhead he is. He would ride that wave forever. What camera am I on? Get a life, you idiot.
Even that he's probably going to love. Just to mention.
No, because we've got the same friends and all of them will be watching this because he's obsessed and they'll all be can loser.
You know, we mentioned the albums 19 and 21. Huge successes. And you write most of your own material. Okay? And much of it is influenced, as we said, by what you've been through.
Yeah.
You know? So those album titles, is that because that was the year that the age you were when those relationships ended, or was that the year when you recorded the album?
When I wrote the record.
Okay. And you keep, is it true you keep a drunk diary? You keep a diary of when you've been drinking, and that you also use that?
I did on my second record on 21, yeah. Because I'm not very good at talking. Like, you know, to myself, obviously. But to like people, and when I'm having like, a shit time in my relationships, I'm never very good at saying how I feel and talking about it, even if they are, and they try and bring it out of me.
And did all the stuff in the Drunk Diary wind up in the album, or is there stuff? So it's more or less all in there.
Yeah, it was me going, oh, like, you're such a dickhead, Adele, like all this stuff, all stuff about myself, and then it would kind of make me think about the situation when I would read it back sober, and then I'd be able to write the songs.
And so, how do you write songs now without the benefit of that?
I haven't written a song since I think the last song I wrote on 21 was Don't You Remember. I haven't written a song since then.
Why not?
Yeah. I'm going back in the studio in November. Fingers crossed.
But so you have to get the material ready before then, though. You can't just go in.
Well, this is actually a theme. What I've got to do for wow, that's really giving something away.
A theme.
I need to. I've already. It's got a. Is it? No. I've got like a concept.
Oh wow, a concept album.
No, it's one song. No.
Hey, you've inspired me to record.
Uh-oh.
What?
What are you doing? Is it like a Peter Kay album?
Well, no, I thought you've done 19 and 21.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I thought maybe time for the oldies. Yeah, there you go.
You've gone through so much effort.
Including some tracks from my own dough there, you know, is that a girl or a boy? I can't tell from the back anymore. You're not going out dressed like that, that's a good one. And hips don't lie.
Hips don't lie.
Or just squeak a little bit.
Can I have that?
You can if you really want.
Thank you, I'd love that.
I don't think there'll be any other takers.
I'll get it framed.
You know...
Achy, breaky hip.
Yeah. I don't think there's an actual album in there, but I will record them for you if you want.
Thank you.
A lot of the stuff that people get to see on YouTube, your various songs have a huge number of hits.
Do they?
Yeah. I think someone like you got over 30 million, like 33 million hits.
What Brits? The Brit Awards?
No, just people, yeah, of you performing the Brit Awards, yeah. It's incredible. I think that many people... And have you seen the kids doing you on YouTube?
And the choir?
No, kids, just kids in cars. People started filming their kids in cars.
No.
OK, I'm going to show you a few of these.
I don't really look on the internet anymore. I've just read too much bad stuff.
But you don't have to look at science about you. Who would write bad stuff about you?
Yeah, but even when you go on YouTube, you like see a comment going, oh, she's brilliant, and there's some weirdo who starts writing awful stuff about
Idiots. OK, here we go. Look, this is... and there are no bad comments here. These are some kids filmed in the car singing your songs. You'll like this.
There's a fire starting in my heart. Sweet Timothy, the witch is bringing out the dark.
Wow, you know what? You're a superstar now. It's a great thing, and you deserve every second of it. Thank you for coming on. You're a huge fan. Well, you're a huge fan. And I hope you know that. And I'm sure you do, but it doesn't hurt to hear it again, does it? Adele, she's got a bit of a cold, but she's not one of those people who's saying, oh, I can't perform, I've got a cold. She's still going to sing for this evening, which is wonderful. Which song are you going to do now?
I'm going to do Turning Tables.
Turning Tables, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to go over now. Ladies and gentlemen, she'll be performing live the fabulous Adele. Thank you. Fabulous. You go and get yourself ready over there. Big thanks to all my guests tonight. Of course, Sarah Jessica Parker. She has a new movie out called I Don't Know How She Does It. Go and see that if you can. Lewis Hamilton, he'll be racing next week. And, of course, the fabulous Adele, who will be singing for us in just a second. Join me here next week if you can. My guest will be Sherlock Holmes himself, Benedict Cumberbatch. The brilliantly funny Alan Carr will be here, and chart-topping girl group The Saturdays, as well as one of the most exciting rock and roll bands I've ever seen live, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, right here performing next Saturday. But we do have a treat for you to finish tonight's show, as I said, to play us out with Turning Tables, Adele.
You always say more. turning tables. Under haunted skies I see you. Ooh, and where love is lost, your ghost is found. I braved 100 storms to leave you. As hard as you try, no, I will never be knocked down. Well, 'cause I can't keep up with your turning tables under your thumb. I can't breathe. So I won't let you close enough to hurt me. No, I won't rescue you to just desert me. I can't give you all you think you gave me. It's time to say goodbye to turning tables. Yes, to turning tables. Next time I'll be braver, I'll be my own savior when the thunder calls for me. Next time I'll be braver, I'll be my own savior, standing on my own 2 feet. So I won't let you close enough to hurt me. No, I won't rescue you to just desert me. I can't give you all you think you gave me. It's time to say goodbye to turning tables. Yes, to turning tables. To turning tables.
Oh, she's amazing. Well, with £1 million already won, don't miss Game 2. Anton Decker back with more star guests and 1,000 people all hoping to be lucky. Red or Black is back tomorrow at 6:45. Next tonight on ITV1, The Bourne Ultimatum.